I'm Angie.
And I'm Aislinn. We're back with another episode of the Food Hero Cooking Show.
Today we're making cranberry oat balls, or you could just call them oat balls because we're going to show you some different variations. But first, we're going to head over and wash our hands. We'll meet you back here. Okay, today we're going to teach you how to make a quick and healthy snack. Aislinn is often running and playing and very active during the day. Well, actually, so is the rest of the family.
Yeah.
We all do a lot of things, right?
Yeah.
So, these are called cranberry oatmeal balls, but we just like to call them oatmeal balls because we like to mix it up and put different things in them each time. So today what we're going to start with, I'm going to show you a little trick. One of the first ingredients in here is chopped nuts. All right, and the actual recipe on Food Hero calls for almonds. We have some almonds in here, and Aislinn chose to put a few pecans in there.
I love pecans.
You do. Now, especially if you have young kids, it's really important that these are chopped really well if you're going to use them. If you don't want to use nuts, you have an allergy, you can use sunflower seeds or pumpkin seeds. That's another option. But today we are going to use the nuts, but we're going to chop them up really well. For preschoolers, nuts can be a choking hazard, and so that's why it is very important to make sure they're chopped into small pieces. So you can use a variety of things. I'm going to show them here. You could use the back of a large spoon. This is a meat tenderizer, and you just want to use the smooth side, actually. If you use this side, it's actually going to poke holes in your Ziploc baggie. So I did put the nuts in a Ziploc bag. That makes for a very easy cleanup, and you don't have your nuts shooting everywhere. And this is a fun activity for kids. Ace loves to do it. So
give them all of that good stuff. Recipes that kids love.
Nice job, Ace. Those look great. So for the nuts, we are actually going to start with 1/3 of a cup of our chopped nuts. So I'm going to let you just open the baggie, reach in there, and measure out 1/3 of a cup.
So just one?
Yep, just 1/3. And we can always save the rest of those nuts for later, or maybe to make them next time, or for a different baking project. It's always handy to have chopped nuts.
That's good.
One tip for your nuts, I will say, to keep them fresh and to keep the oils in them from going rancid, keep them in your freezer. So if you I buy large quantities of nuts because they're cheaper, and then I just keep them in my freezer, and it helps them stay fresh much longer.
Is that good?
All right, perfect. Go ahead and throw that in there. All right, and then our next ingredient is actually going to be 1/3 of a cup, so we can use the same thing, of our peanut butter. Okay, so here's our peanut butter here, and you can use this.
I love peanut butter.
Now, she does love peanut butter, and I actually make our peanut butter homemade here, which you can use this, or just a regular peanut butter is completely fine. The way that you make peanut butter is basically you put peanuts. I use cocktail peanuts because we like a little bit of salt in there, but no other ingredients in a food processor, and just let it go, turn it on until we have a beautiful butter. So this is actually Aislinn's favorite, but any peanut butter there works fine. She's going to measure out 1/3 of a cup of that. And you can use this to make sure that your cup is all cleaned out. So get it all cleaned out. Next we have honey. And it's going to be 1/4 of a cup of honey, so nice and sticky. And we buy our honey locally. We're going to measure it in the liquid measuring cup. We're going to get 1/4 there, so you can kind of just pour it in if you want, but make sure remember you want to get down to eye level to look at it. So step down, and you're going to use this. Do you want me to hold it so you can scrape?
It's hard to get enough where healthy food is fun.
Okay, so our next ingredient is our oats. And the recipe does call for quick cooking oats. I've talked about this in other videos. So quick cooking are generally, they're in a little bit smaller pieces, and they work better in this recipe. I didn't have any on hand, so old-fashioned oats completely will work. You might need to add a little bit more honey and peanut butter, but what I did here today, this is a tip. If you don't have quick cooking oats, you have old-fashioned and you have a food processor, you can just pulse your old-fashioned oats in the food processor for a little bit to break up those pieces, and then it acts much more like quick oats in the recipe. So that's what I did here. And it calls for a cup. So Aislinn, I'm gonna have you, because of the size of this opening, do 2 half cups, because 1/2 plus 1/2 equals? 1 whole. Okay, so make sure it's not overflowing, because otherwise our recipe won't stick together, right? Okay. Now, the recipe also calls for 1/3 of a cup of dried cranberries. I have a mixture today of raisins, dried apples, and cranberries. There's actually a few dried cherries in there too. So that's going to be an option for us. Or sometimes Aislinn likes to add coconut. She loves unsweetened coconut that's toasted. So sometimes we use that in place of the dried fruit, or we mix them up. She can choose. I also always like to add a tablespoon of ground flax if you have it on hand. So this is going to add a lot of nice omega-3 fatty acids, and it also helps binding. So tip of the day, if you have a little bit of ground flax, use that. Now, Aislinn, what do you want to do today? You want to do dried fruit, a little coconut? What are you thinking for your mix-ins?
Coconut!
You want to do coconut this time? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to do a 1/3 cup of that. So this is just unsweetened raw coconut that I have just, good job, that I toasted in the oven. At 350 degrees, it only takes about 6 minutes. You want to keep an eye on it, okay? And it just gives a real nice flavor. You can smell that, huh? It smells good.
I love coconut.
She loves coconut.
My favorite.
All right, do you want to start mixing up? We'll start
Yes.
mixing that. All right, so while she's mixing that, I will just say, if you're making this with several kids, what I like to do is just give them each a little scoop, and then they can roll and make their own, which is nice. And you can also give them a choice of adding a few different mix-ins. You don't want to get too many extra mix-ins or it won't stick together, but that's another nice option for this too. I do have another tip today. If you happen to have a cookie scoop, that works really nice for making these as well. And then I store these in the fridge or the freezer, most oftentimes in the freezer, because I'll make a double batch. And then when Aislinn's hungry, she can just grab one for a nice quick snack. So here we go. We'll finish mixing them up. Oh, those look delicious, huh?
Give 'em more of that good stuff.
Today when we make these, we're just gonna get these right into our container that's gonna go in the freezer. So do you wanna scoop? Now remember, when you scoop, you wanna press it really hard against the side. Good. Okay. Good job. And then you can just put it right in there. Excellent job. Looking good. And if you need to, you can take your hands to kind of press it together a little better. That looks good. If you don't have a scoop, again, you can use your hands. Sometimes it's a good idea to spray your hands with cooking spray if you're using your hands only so it won't stick, or if your kids are rolling these into balls, because that's a fun activity for them. So a little bit of cooking spray on their hands, or you can just use a large spoon and kind of shape it from there. Whatever works best for you. If you wanted them a little smaller, if you have younger kids too, you can just use a tablespoon, and you see how they kind of come, and then you can hand shape them there too. So that's another option.
It's hard to get enough. Where healthy food is fun. Being a food hero is fun.
All right, so here we are. We've got some nice oat balls ready for us, and sticky hands we need to wash up. So we're gonna let you go. Actually, we need to wash up. I need to go for a run. What are you up to next, Aislinn?
I don't know. Maybe just playing around.
Bike ride with me today?
Yeah.
While I run? All right.
I love oat balls. And see you guys next time on the Food Hero Cooking Show. Bye.
We'll see you later.
Being a food hero is fun. Yeah, yeah, yeah.